Hello. We have just had a full moon. It was on Thursday, April 21st, here on the west coast of the United States. It was at 10:24 p.m. The full moon was in Scorpio, at around 2 degrees Scorpio. So while every full moon is important, it represents a period of time of things coming to fruition. Um, there's more that's actually significant to be said in terms of the general energetic or geocosmic signature. And because there's some pretty interesting things going on right now. And one of the most notable is the number of planets that are going retrograde. Currently, both Mars and Pluto are going retrograde, and they don't very often go retro. Mars almost always goes retrograde around this period of time, and Pluto goes retrograde on a regular schedule, but they don't very often, coincide. So that's fairly significant right there, with Mars and Pluto both going retrograde at the same time. And Saturn is also going retrograde. Plus, on April 28th, Mercury goes retrograde as well. So anytime there's a lot of retrograde planets, it's a very internal period of time. With Mars retrograde and Pluto retrograde and Saturn retrograde, especially with Mars and Saturn very near each other, you may be wondering why you have so little energy, why you feel so, like you just can't get it together to do anything. And depending upon your astrological signs, you may feel particularly scattered and like you're having a difficult time focusing. So it's not just a lack of energy or a desire to sleep all day or, watch reruns of Game of Thrones. It's, or my personal favorite, The Great British Bake Off. It's also, there can also be difficulty kind of getting a grasp of what it is that you really need, what's really important, and this sense that you're somehow just not quite putting it together. For others, especially for that is more true for the mutable signs, for people with a lot of Virgo, a lot of Pisces, a lot of Gemini, and perhaps also if you have a lot of Sagittarius in your chart. For the fire signs, to some extent Sagittarius, certainly Aries and Leo, things are a little bit easier. It may be working better for you. You may actually be feeling like you're functioning kind of well. But for everybody, it's more of an internal time. And there can definitely be a strong sense that that you just can't keep going the way you were going. One very excellent astrologer, Ralph Merriman, who is primarily a financial astrologer, he described it though as kind of like what did you say? Like chickens coming home to roost. Like you've been going some incredible miles over the speed limit, and suddenly you put your foot on the brake because you notice there's a police car, but the police car's noticed you too. That's the Pluto aspect. The idea of the chickens coming home to roost and you having to pay up for bad karma or inappropriate karma. That may be so, but in most cases I've noticed that it's on a more benign level, that there's just a kind of slowing down being forced upon you, that especially if you were going over the speed limit or pushing yourself in many respects, that the energy to keep doing that just isn't going to be there. And you will actually, with Pluto there, you will hurt yourself if you push where you are not able to go. So it's very, very important to pay attention in this period of time with with two outer and soon to be two inner planets going retrograde. Personally and on a larger scale, it is time to look within. This is an excellent time for research, for meditation, for digging deep within about anything, for anything that requires a kind of internal work. This is a great period of time. But if you think that you're going to keep, burning the candle at both ends, in spite of the benefits for the fire signs, that's not going to happen. Mercury retrograde coming up in a few days gets, that gets a lot of bad press. But Mercury retrograde is really not as dangerous or damaging as it's often played out to be. It mostly creates inconveniences. But most people should already be feeling the strong effects of the retrograde planets in action right now. And there's a powerful call to look within. And also Jupiter is in retrograde too. I forgot about that one. So the benefits really come from looking within. And given that Jupiter is making a challenging aspect still to Mars and to Saturn, kind of the more you try to push against it, the more it's just not going to work. And there's got to be some part of you that understands that what's meant to happen, really will, and that there's a lot more time and a lot of other agendas that you don't know about that take time to fall into place. So it's usually very difficult to let yourself begin to enjoy these periods of time when you're forced to take a step back and put your foot on the brake pedal a bit and maybe even pull over to the side of the road. But once you do, it's usually pretty enjoyable. So let yourself have that. And enjoy the Scorpio full moon. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.